So welcome everyone to another Wednesday workshop. This week we have Chaos Christos, who will be taking us through facing your truth, delving into your shadow self. Just a reminder that there is a chat box on the bottom, which I think flips open on the right-hand side if you have any questions or comments. Other than that, Christos, or Chris, take it away.
Okay, first of all, I just want to know, you can go around one by one, don't have to be long. What does being your true self mean to you? I'm going to just start there. You can go Alex. Anybody who want to go first can go first.
Anyone want to go first? Shall I go first?
Go ahead.
So being your true self, I think for me means being aligned to your higher self, being your best self, and ensuring that your mind, body, and spirit are in alignment. I think being your true self is being your best self. And before I carry on, I'll let someone else go. Fundy?
Who's next?
Jeremiah?
I could go.
Yeah, go on, Jake. Go on, Jake.
I think for me, it's just about standing in your sovereignty and understanding your purpose here outside of a human being, understanding whether it be that you're a being of light, whether it be that, you know, you're here for a sole purpose to give, or whether it's part of, I know for me, a massive part of that is maybe because I'm in kind of a transitional period, is kind of finding the balance between giving wholly to my purpose here and then understanding that I do want to experience the human experience in its totality, and kind of finding the balance within that, not from a selfish means, kind of. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just kind of finding that balance.
You want to have a good time? Is that what you mean?
No, yeah, obviously want to have a good time, but outside of that, I just feel like there can be a real attachment to ego when your partner comes about completely giving, and that's kind of where I'm at. I
love that.
Yeah.
That's it, really.
Yeah,
like, you don't want to be so, what they call it, heavenly high that you're no earthly good.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I kind of feel like when you do that much light work, you end up in that space, and then you hear yourself talking and you're getting these incredible downloads, but at the same time, you're like, oh shit, I'm preaching right now. That's not what I want to be about. I want to kind of learn to shine in a way that
you basically want to be humble, basically, and shine at the same time.
Yeah, but not even humble, yes. But at the same time, I think you've got to be braggadocious with your purpose. But at the same time, it's about finding a way to walk, I suppose, exactly as you said, in alignment, so that you're just being the purpose as opposed to working towards being the purpose. And it's all just fucking hard, isn't it?
Yeah,
finding that balance.
Like, I understand what you're saying. Rather than shouting about it, you're just being.
Yeah. And I suppose that's about a bravery thing, and just because we can spend so much time contemplating. I'm just talking now, Anna. So yeah, that's what it means to me.
That was the point. I was gonna let y'all flow. You flowing like that's exactly it. Where I'm from, we call it walking like you talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have
that's
to think
exactly what
about
I want to do. Walk my talk. That's
yeah.
it.
Because there's times I get into modes, I'm just like, man, I'm talking too much. And I have two other friends. It's funny, over the past 2 months, they was like, I was talking too much. I needed to get in my space, get in my zone, forgo how I was, and put some work in. Quit talking so much. Then when you come out of that, people see and can feel the difference in the way that you behave. You know what I'm saying? Man, I love that though. Anybody else? Harriet? Yeah, I'm gonna call names.
Usually I can't stop talking, but I'm kind of still trying to figure it out in a way, really. I think everything's quite new to me still, and I'm very much still working out what it is for me, because I feel like it's very hard for me to separate kind of my higher self to the materialistic kind of side of life at the moment, and the whole social media and what's going on. I've find that quite hard to kind of separate. So I'm kind of observing and listening, and I know where I want to go, but it's actually putting myself out there and going forward with it. So it's kind of where I'm at the moment.
So just being comfortably you at all times and kind
Yes,
of.
yes, yes.
Okay, yeah, I feel you. See, that wasn't that bad. Do I need to call another name, or do y'all want to go?
I'll go. Yeah, it's a cliche, but it's all about balance. And I think the important lesson, or maybe the hardest lesson to learn about balance, is that you got to be aware of what you're trying to balance. And there's a lot of things that we'd rather not acknowledge that normally we're trying to kind of hide from ourselves. And you can't balance something without addressing the whole picture, or else there's always going to be something that you're leaving unbalanced and undealt with. So just acknowledging all the parts that make the whole complete you, and not running away from certain unpleasant things, but facing them and dealing with them, and also vice versa. But of course, it's the dark things that we'd most often rather not acknowledge.
Real. Yes, everybody's. Y'all sure y'all need this talk? I think everybody's on it. Like you said, the whole of yourself. Yeah, and it's funny because when you say dark part of yourself, people automatically assume something so dark and gruesome. The dark part of yourself is just something that you don't show. It could be that you're emotional. It could be that you are very passionate, but you don't show it around other people. For instance, like if you get in I'm assuming, I know a lot of you artists, because of the talks we've had in our chat, when you get into astrology, you learn your sun and your moon sign. People's sun signs are what you pick up when they just walking around every day. Oh, he looks like a leader. He looks quiet. He's this, he's that. But that moon is going to show you what that person really is, and that is your hidden, that is the shadow, that is what rules your emotion, because the moon rules the water. And you're 75% water. I think I got that percentage right. I don't know. But you get my point. So once you learn not to control, but to become one with that, like he said, become the whole and integrate that shadow aspect of yourself into the light, then you become whole. And like I said, it's people think shadow work and left-hand path, anything dealing with darkness is something evil. And it's not. It's just something that's hidden, because evil is a matter of perspective, If I say I slapped an old lady, everybody in here gonna raise their eyebrow. If I say I slapped an old lady because she shot my mom, then it's all of a sudden justified. The only thing that changed was the justification in the act. The act didn't change. So what really, is just a matter of perspective and how you view things. And that shadow, the thing about shadow that the reason why a lot of people shy away from it and they like to say light worker and things like that is because that's easy. Shadow means you got to take a hard look at yourself, and this is where it gets real, is what are you doing that's not helping you ascend? What are you doing that's prohibited? And a lot of times it's self-sabotage, because people don't want to be real with themselves. They don't want to be like we just were talking about, like they don't want to be like, I talk too much, I don't listen enough. I'm doing more reading and talking than I am putting in work, meditation, spell work, breath work, whatever works for you. And like what Harriet said, social media, I love it. And it's from time to time, but I take breaks. When the noise around me gets too much to where I can't hear myself think, it's time to remove myself from that situation and listen to my shadow self. My shadow self be like, yeah, that sounds good for them. That don't work for us, And you're not living in alignment with your true self or your shadow when you're in depression or anxiety. Depression is just simply wearing that mask all the time. When you go out with your friends and well, I'll just speak for me. I used to love going out, and it got to a point where I was just going out to go out, and I was like, that ain't me. And once I stopped going out and I started staying home, got my room comfortable, I started to really delve into my own power. I started getting more downloads, more understanding of things. But that was also part of quieting the noise. I go out. Oh, I don't go out. I go. Saturdays is my day. Back to what Jake was saying. I'm really finding my balance, because I really got to a point to where, because I heard a very respected person on YouTube say, sports is folly, it's mundane, it's this, it's that. I thought that's what it was for me, but it's not for me. I enjoy fantasy football. That is one of the funnest things I do with my friends. Some of them are hip to this, some of them are not, but we enjoy talking shit doing fantasy football. This has been the funnest season despite all the bullshit COVID that they introduced and canceling games. Everybody has been like, yo, this has been the funnest season ever. But for me, it was because I approached it differently. I approached it and I was like, I'm gonna do my fantasy research, then I'm gonna do my breath work. For me, it was all about finding a balance and not worrying about what somebody else says you should do on the way to your spiritual path. It's 22 paths on the tree of life. Some of y'all like Skittles, some of y'all like Starburst. Some of y'all like waffles, some of y'all like toast, some of y'all like pancakes. If you have that many decisions in everyday life, why would it not apply to the spiritual world? Why can't some of us like the darkness, some of us like the light, some of us like a little of both, It's all about finding out what works for you and what makes you comfortable. And when you are comfortable, and I'm speaking from experience of depression, you'll come out of depression because you're not worried about, am I doing it right? How other people feel about what I'm doing, how other people feel about what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And once you get comfortable within yourself, like they say, like attracts like. I have attracted all of you around me, and I love it. I love Christos Fundy, people that showed up in here. Jake, I love what you said. I love Harriet. Like, it's funny. I was watching the New Turtles, and it's a funny movie. I love it. Shredder said some real shit. He was like, "You are here because the outside world rejects you. This is your family. I am your father. I'm not your father, but this is definitely our family." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the outside world does not understand the things that we do here. And that's fine.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? So when Shredder said that, I felt that. And that's what people be like, well, what do you like to do? One of the things I like to do, I love watching movies. Because in movies, I see something that sparks something in my brain. I'm just like, damn, they put that in a movie? And it makes it fun for me. It makes it a game for me to watch movies. But I've been talking a lot now. When anybody else want to talk about like any type of breakthrough that they had or something that they found out about their shadow self that they brought to the forefront, and because of that, they live better. And just anything I want to share about discoveries of oneself.
I feel like there's some sort of energy happening at the moment. Maybe it's astrological, but I feel like a lot of people are turning inwards at the moment. I found myself really drawn to journaling at the moment and really questioning who I am, what I look like to others, and not in an ego way, like not in a self-conscious way, but how do I appear to others, as in how am I seen? How am I really, like, because I feel like we have a lot of blind spots when it comes to ourselves. And is it really possible to know myself? Is it really possible that we can know ourselves?
Absolutely, because when you were 5, 6, 7, you know exactly what you were and what you wanted to be. It wasn't that till you started going out into noise. Oh, you need to go to school. You need to do this. You need to do that. There are people that never have needed to step foot in the school. You don't need to go to school and learn how to read. I knew how to read and add before I went to school. And since I graduated from college, all I do is read and add. I didn't need none of that other bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You knew at 5 or 6 what you saw in your room at night when the lights were off. But you didn't believe it because your mom told you it was fake, because your pastor told you it was fake, because some goofy ass person on the news told you ghosts ain't real. And those same people who told you aliens weren't real a month ago, 2 months ago, came out and said they were real. Now everybody's like, oh, well, maybe they're real. Now you have to start questioning programming. And that's how people fall out of their true self. Programming is introduced. Programming tells you, I gotta go to school, and it's funny because like you'll see people that you knew graduated from school before you even started and they working a basic ass job. And that's not what this is about. It's about, like I said, the programming, just the thought that you see things as they are. But their programming will tell you, but I gotta do it anyway. And that's insanity. That's what your boy, it was Einstein doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Is insanity. I was insane for going to college. I seen a couple of people that did it and made some money. Then I seen majority of them, it was like, you know, they were making either more or less than people that never went to school. And they didn't have loans to pay off. So you tell me who won. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, it was in school that I had my awakening. So I understand it was necessary for me to go to school because that was my time away from my family and time for me to quiet the noise. I could sit in my room all day and look this stuff up. I could sit in my room all day and meditate and just dive in and not have anybody come in there and be like, you need to clean up, you need to take out the trash, you need to cut the grass, you know? So for that part, I know why I had to go to school, to get away and be able to think for myself. And that shadow work is understanding the why and the what. What was the lesson I was supposed to learn? What was the lesson out of that bad relationship I was supposed to learn? Or I don't like to say bad or good. It is what it is. Every relationship, and it's not, I'm not talking about relationship with just the opposite sex or your partner or whoever you're romantically involved with. I'm talking about just your friends, because I think somebody had already said it, or maybe it was in today, but people around you are your reflections. I had to take one of the hardest things I learned about shadow self. I had a friend I used to fuck with. I'm like, man, you got some anger issues, and everybody in the group be like, yo, you have anger issues. Guess who else had anger issues? Me. I just didn't express them in the ways that he did. And it's not a matter of who's more angry. The fact was that I have anger issues, and I needed to learn how to control that anger. And it's a fine line between anger and passion, actually. A lot of passion, I feel like, spills over to anger when you're expressing yourself and people don't understand what you're saying. Then you become angry because you're like, how do you not understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, but then I realized it was my delivery, the way I was talking to people sometimes. They couldn't understand what I was saying because I was yelling at them. Or they said you're very aggressive. So then there was more shadow work. Because I told my friend, I was like, when you get to a point where you truly don't care what people think about you, it's not that it's just like, fuck up everybody else, it's that you truly understand yourself. And you truly have come to a point of peace. And I like my friend, he called it a 0-point gravity, of where you can really see the results of everything you've done and I don't like to say what's been done to you, because when you came here, you set forth a couple of challenges. And every time you make a choice, there's going to be something that comes out of that choice. And if it's something I like, I'm like, cool, I'll go with it. If it's something I don't like, I'm like, it's just a challenge for me to overcome. Now it's, what am I supposed to learn from this? It's a constant pattern of, I make a choice, I get a result, what was the lesson? And once you master that, like, things become very easy. Then you become the true creator, because you get to a point where now it's just like, I see my birth chart. I see that the map is, this life has been mapped out for me. But I also see where they say you become a true God and a true creator when you start making your own choices. Like they say, you didn't go left or right, you went straight through the middle. And for me at this point, and being my true self, is about creating the reality that I truly desire. Not something that's been programmed, not something my mom, my grandmother, my teacher, my friends, none of that. Only something that Chris likes to do. And it's always come back to making sure you're doing what you like to do. If you want to sit and eat a whole tub of ice cream, do that. I'm not going to do it. But if that's what makes you happy, do that. Whatever makes you happy in that moment, do that. Don't question it. Don't ask nobody else. Because advice is only what you ask for when you already know the question, the answer to your question. That's all advice is. You just want confirmation. And being your true self, you learn that a lot of times you sought out confirmation for things you already knew. I got a bunch of books sitting right here beside me. I was reading them books and I was just like, man, these things are only telling me things I already knew. I did a consultation and a reading with somebody. I was like, he only telling me things I already knew. Not to sound egotistical, but just like I said, shadow work. I was like, wait a minute. If people keep telling me things I already knew about myself, why am I paying people? Why am I buying books? These books are useful. It took me to get to that point, because I'm gonna definitely share one of the books, How to Know Higher Worlds, because it teaches you about triggers and not reacting.
To say on that, by the way.
Huh?
I have something to say on triggers, because that has been coming up for me.
Yeah, and that's part of shadow work, is recognizing your triggers and then recognizing how you react to triggers. And that's how you stop that pattern. But go ahead. I've been talking for a minute.
No, I don't mind. No, I didn't want to interrupt, but like, that's just one thing I've noticed with triggers. I feel like it's a really good way to get to know yourself. because I always start analyzing triggers now. I'm like, why is this person triggering me? Like before I dealt with it in a very unconscious way. I was just like, oh, that person pisses me off. And I never considered, okay, that's in me. One thing I learned with shadow work and, looking at yourself is when you're busy looking at other people or other people aggravating you, or you're feeling negative feelings to other people, point the finger back at you rather than them. That's one thing, like someone always taught me, is like, point that finger right back at you. And I feel like that is, I feel like I have been dealing with my triggers in a very, very different way, much more conscious kind of way, like being more aware and trying to get to the root of where that is coming from. And what I've realized is I just feel that's a really, really good way of getting to know yourself more.
Absolutely. Like they say, people talk about they like to grow. Well, what is growth? Being uncomfortable. The more you force yourself into uncomfortable situations, and I'm not talking about, like I said, something that brings you depression, but something that just like, ooh, that made me feel a certain way, and it shouldn't. Why is that? That's when you get into real shadow work. When it's just like exercising, when you're tearing down to build back up, and it doesn't feel good, but it works. So it is natural, so it is spiritual. That's one of my favorite things my grandmother used to say, because you can absolutely find parallels between the natural and the spiritual. And like she said, like one of my major triggers was like when people say some, like what I consider to be dumb shit. And I had to realize that was a form of ego, thinking I knew more than them. Just because I know more than someone about a certain topic doesn't mean they don't know more about another topic than me. Like, there's a lot of people that are way better than me at manifestation, or they used to be. I'm not gonna claim that negative thought for them, but they used to be. But I feel like I was more in the realm of figuring out shadow work. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I've done my whole life. I've always sat in the room and be like, all right, what are you doing wrong? I was telling my roommate, I was like, when I was in middle school and high school, I would legit before school sit and be like, all right, man, don't say no crazy shit today. Don't cause a ruckus. Don't say nothing that's gonna get people being like, this motherfucker is weird. I never accomplished any of that. But I was already aware that I was different. And my point is that all of you have already been doing shadow work your whole life. Anytime you sat and tried to figure out why you were the way you were, or tried to figure out a trigger, you already been doing it. A lot of these things you've already been doing. It seems like a lot, but once you get to a point, you figure out it's really simple, and it is what it is. It's exactly what you thought it was, and it's not even what you thought it was. It's exactly what you knew, and that's truly being your true self. You stop questioning and stop believing, and you start knowing, and that's just intuition. And your intuition is connected to your heart. Your brain is analytical. Your brain tells you I need to get up, brush my teeth, wash my face, take a shower, put on deodorant, whatever, what have you. The intuition is just like, ooh, I shouldn't go there. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't listen to that. I should meditate right now. I should watch the football game right now. I should put on makeup because I just like putting on makeup. Ain't for me, but if that's for you, you know what I mean? I should see what earrings fit on me. If that in that moment makes you feel good, that sounds so mundane and so simple, but that's what makes you feel good. Go with that. Nobody can tell you what makes you feel good. At the end of the day, if it makes you feel good, do it. I got one rule: do it as long as it doesn't interfere with anybody else's path. Period. As long as you're not interfering with anybody else's path, I promise you're doing what you're supposed to do. And that's something I had to learn. I was interfering with other people's path. I was trying to teach people Jesus isn't real. The Bible is this. You need to understand this. It wasn't time for them to learn all that. And I had, like I said, there was a lot of ego thinking, and that came out of Christianity, thinking that I'm some type of savior. I'm here to save people. And I hadn't even saved myself yet. That was the biggest realization is, hold up, you silly ass motherfucker. You trying to help other people, and you haven't even mastered yourself. You still depressed. You still anxious. How you look? Like I said, I was doing way too much talking. I had to go sit down and be like, all right, let me stop talking and start showing. And sure enough, people will ask you, like they say, first they'll ask you why, then they'll ask you how. I promise you that. Christos, you ain't got nothing to say? You've been quiet. You might be gone. Anybody else have a comment? I'm sorry.
He put something in there, but I relate to that. I relate to exactly what you just said. I was that person about 5 years ago going around, ego taking over, me preaching to people, thinking I know more than people. How come you can't see it, you know, like really looking down on people?
Mm-hmm.
I've been there. And talking, doing a lot of talking and not much walking. Been there. Fundy, I feel like you want to say something.
Oh, okay. His mic isn't working.
Yeah, I really connected with what you said about, you know, being that kind of person, and what you said about showing, not telling. I guess that is probably the right way to approach things, or at least keep those two things in balance.
Mm-hmm.
But it is frustrating when it's really frustrating when you see people just being deceived, and it's a deception that will they might fall under for the rest of their life if someone doesn't come along and help them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I guess you got to base it on an individual level, and with patience, how you're going to try to help people see the truth or be open to other possibilities besides maybe some very strong ideas they've been convinced of that you think might be doing them some harm. That's definitely one thing I'm really working on, trying to figure out how to be more patient and be more personal on my approach, and not like a one approach fits all sort of thing when I have disagreements with people, and I all I want them to do is to agree with me. And I know that's probably not that. I've learned that, you know, that's not the right way to do it. It's not about trying to get someone to agree with me, but it's about me and this person coming to understand each other as much as we possibly can. Because as soon as you say it's the best outcome is for them to abandon how they're thinking now and adopt my way of thinking, that comes from a place of arrogance where there's no chance that you might be under a deception yourself. So I think the best outcome is always two people just trying to get to know each other and their thoughts and feelings as much as they can.
Exactly, because they tell you there's no such thing as full truths, only half truths, because the half truth is your truth. So when you're in a discussion with somebody, you're telling your truth and they're telling theirs. I can't tell you your truth is wrong, like especially when I haven't been through what you've been through. Like I said, one of my favorite sayings, Jay-Z, what you eat don't make me shit, and who you fuck don't make me calm. And it's funny, like, because a lot of people don't like to tell people what they want, what they need to eat. You need to go vegan. You need to do this. If you can eat cheese and it don't give you mucus, more power to you. I had to let it go. And I love queso. I love pizza, but I had to let it go. You know what I'm saying? We ain't even gonna get into the type of women people like, but you like what you like. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of, so I swear one of the realest things I've ever seen, some chick tweeted this on Twitter. She was like, a lot of y'all gonna end up lonely, worried about what your homeboys think. I was like, whew, that's some true shit, because a lot of people find people attractive that their friends don't think are attractive. But because their friends won't approve of them, they don't want to date them. How silly is that? But that's real things people struggle with. And like I said, like, that's your truth. You know what I mean? Like, man, to be completely, how about I give you some real shit? Oh, I got a homie. He's black. He thinks black people should only be with other black people. He does not like the fact when he sees it the other way. And I had to tell him, like, look, man, who are they fucking don't make you come? Why do you care? Well, I just feel, that's how you feel. What about how they feel? He was like, I get you. And I was like, yeah, but like I told him, my problem was putting my feelings and my truth on other people. That don't work.
It's a
You
choice
just got
at
to
the
do
end
what
of
you
the
got
day.
to do that works for you. Go ahead, Skull. I see you.
I'm sorry to interrupt. It's at the end of the day, it's a choice.
Yes.
It's a choice. It's your choice and your choice alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's your experience.
Everybody's on their own hero journey. This is your own Iliad, your own Odyssey, your own, I don't know anymore, so I'm gonna stop there, but you get my point. You are the superhero. All right, let's go to simulation theory. You got 7 archetypes. So let's just say before you come to Earth, there's 7 different characters. Really 22 if you count the Arcania, but there's 7 different energies,
Can you
7
can you
days a
break
week.
down simulation theory? I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you just break down simulation theory like really briefly for those that don't know simulation theory?
To be honest with you, I just know my definition of it. Simulation theory to
It's
me,
like a Sims.
yeah. So this is a video game.
This is just our avatar. We're living in a computer game. Sorry.
Okay, well, yeah. Okay, so we got the same definition. Yeah, so to me, I literally think of this as like a video game. And in a video game, you gain certain powers as you level up. The bosses get harder. You know what I'm saying? The character discovers it had powers it never knew. And at any time, you can tap into those powers because you never forget those powers once you earn them. And that's life, and those are lessons. It's not different. And they have superpowers. We have superpowers. We've seen people with superpowers. Why can't you tap into those superpowers? And then that's what I'm at now, learning how to tap into those superpowers, you know? And yeah, if you think of it like a game, it makes sense because in a game, you have continues after you die. You can start over and try again. Reincarnation. Damn, I didn't get it last time. I'm gonna get it this time though, because I know what to look out for. Deja vu. Damn, this feels familiar. You picked up where you left off. It was skipping the record. If you go in a circle, you're bound to overlap. This shit is not a straight line, it's a circle. And you are the point in that circle, the middle point. Once you become the middle point, that's what they're talking about. You can time travel because you can pick, you know what I'm saying? You could pick any time if you're the middle point, but it takes a lot to get to that middle point. And it's 12 numbers around the clock for a reason. 12 zodiac, 12 different disciples, 12 disciplines you must master to become the 13th, the Christ. But and yeah, it keeps going back to living your true self. You can't be, well, you could try it, and that's where depression comes in, but you can't be anyone else than what you were supposed to be. I got into a point where I really, really started loving money because I was getting a lot of money. And I was going to LA, and I was taking them bachelor type LA trips, and it was fun. And I don't do do it like that anymore, but it was necessary for me to become who I am now. So now I can tell people, like I tell my younger friends, do your thing. Just be careful. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, do what makes you feel happy. Because I did. And some people would say, well, you fell off the path. Nah, because now like I can relate to somebody who they get a little too entangled in money. And it became dangerous for me when I lost it. And that's where anxiety kicked in because I was worried about the future. I was worried about having money because I lost it. And the most dangerous thing I ever said out loud was, I can't become who I was again till I get the money I had. And that's ego. That's an attachment to what they tell you you need, which is money to be something. And money's cool. There's a whole wealth guide. What do they call it? Cannot think of the word, but there's a whole sector of guys that deal with wealth. So you can't say there's something that you can't have. It's all about your attachment to it. Like I want a Porsche Cayenne Pepper. I love those. Those are the sport SUVs, by the way, that Porsche make. But I ain't dying. Like if I never get it, I'll be cool. But I like it because I like to drive fast. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I'm cool with having. But I will never ever again relate my self-worth to the type of car I drive or the job I have or the money I have. Because at the end of the day, I'm still me. And that and the job and the car, that don't affect that. You know? How many friends you have, how many girls you think you got, which is funny, or guys you think you got, because we all sharing the same people. You don't own anything here, and that's all self-realization and realizing that's all attachment to ego. You don't own the house you stay in either. You don't even own the land you own. You gonna tell Earth you own her? The only Earth you own is the shit on your body, the things that make up your skeletal. It's just over your skeletal system, and that entraps its light. It's the only Earth you own. And yeah, it's just a point of, like I said, those self-truths and realizing I'm not all these things people said I am. The things I do don't make me who I am. I am that I am. And you just leave it at that. You know, when you can really say I am that I am and believe it, that's when I felt like that's when I was truly becoming my true self. And like I said, not in a way of like, fuck everybody else, but in a way of like, I understand me, so I understand other people better. And it was interesting what you were saying, Alex, because that's when you get into Christ consciousness, like you said, like you feel like everyone should know And you can't understand, like Funny was saying, you can't understand why people can't see. It's not that time to see. When the student is ready, the master appears. And this is evidence of that. Not because I'm giving a talk, but I came in and saw somebody else talking about something I was interested in. And that's how life works. We're all here sharing experiences and sharing things that got us here. And that's all you're supposed to do. All Christ was doing in the Bible was sharing shit. And they didn't like that. They told him to shut up. He didn't die because he came and forgive you of your sins. He died because he was about his father's business. That's literally what it said. Mary came up to him and wanted to turn that wine to water at the party. He was like, woman, what does that have to do with me? I'm about my father's business. When people come up to me, it was like, I got friends coming to town Saturday for Halloween. I'm doing shrooms, meditating, and trying to connect to my higher self. They probably going to 6th Street. I don't blame them. I've had a great time there. But that shit ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm about my father's business. And I told them, y'all getting 2 days out of me. That's it. And I will say they accept me for who I am because I am who I am. I'm unapologetically. And like I said, I stopped talking so much and doing more. And I started seeing them being like, yeah, I see what you're saying about that solitude shit is real. Because they saw me go in and come out of it and not be a different person, but be a more person in control of his emotions. Things I say make more sense because they can see how I'm living. Is that and that's what I'm saying. When you start talking and what you're saying as of how you live, and people can take you more seriously, obviously, because they see the results of the work you put in. And they can see and look at it and be like, well, if I put in anything close to that, maybe I can accomplish what I'm trying to do. But did you have something, anybody?
I just wanted to add that it was really powerful what you were saying about other people's journeys, because I really feel that we're not meant to be having the same journey. I think we're meant to be here. I really feel like we're meant to be here to have our own individual journeys, as in really have our individual perspectives on things. I don't think we're here to have the same journeys, and you will come across people that have major similarities to you, and you'll have others that not so much, and maybe others who have slightly similarities. And I think now is a time that we should really be focusing on the similarities that we have rather than the differences, because once you come to accept the fact that no one is ever going to see it from your point of view, no one, they're not having your experience, you are having your experience. And once you come to accept that, I think that's when you can kind of move everything else aside and really, really focus on the similarities that we have with one another. And I think it's like really important to remain open to being wrong about things as well. Like, I have been wrong so much in the past. My perceptions have changed so much. Even over the past couple of weeks, my perceptions are changing, or growing and expanding, shall I say, rather than changing. They're just, I'm able to see different things from different angles more and more and more as I'm learning and expanding and connecting with more people, and especially like people like you guys, conscious minds. It expands my way of thinking and my way of seeing things. And I think like that's really important to knowing yourself more as well.
I definitely hope I didn't cut you off when I put my hand up, but I love what you said about and of course I forgot it.
Different paths, perceptions, being open to being wrong.
Open to being wrong. I'm not the person I was yesterday, not the person I was last week, I'm not the person I was 6 months ago for sure. I'm not the person I was 2 years ago. It's okay to change your mind about how you feel. Because people would be like, you're inconsistent. No, I'm consistently inconsistent because I'm consistently growing. If I had the same mindset I did last week, where's the growth? 7 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. People would try to keep you in their past because they're stuck in theirs and they don't want to grow out of it. They're cool where they at. Leave those people alone. But the people that you consistently find, like Alex is talking about, that consistently are reevaluating themselves, trying to be the best version of themselves, living their true life, trying to be their true self, you'll see that their opinion on things changing because your understanding opens up. The more you experience, the more your understanding opens up. The more you can sit in shadow work, the more you see things about yourself, like she said. And like a platform like this, like you have no choice but to be open if you want to grow, because everybody's coming with, like she said, from different backgrounds. And it's just like if you ask somebody, what do you think about the girl I'm dating? They can't give you anything other than what she looked like. And the hour that you spend together with them, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know how much she yelled at you. They don't know what she does that annoys you. They just know what she look like. That's why I don't ever ask people, what do you think about the, it doesn't matter. They don't
It's
know.
going
They're
to be
not
their
what you
perception
really
anyway.
Huh?
It's going to be their perception anyway, which is not the same as your perception.
Exactly.
So it's completely pointless.
What do you think about my car? What do you think about my clothes? I tell my friends, look, man, I wear tech fleece in the winter and I wear some comfortable shorts in the summer because I like being comfortable. I'm a cozy boy. I don't care about the newest fashion. If it's comfortable, I'm wearing it and I'm never throwing it away until it's no longer useful. You know what I'm saying? That's not popular in the group I hang around with. But if you like being fresh and you like spending your money on clothes and that doesn't affect your ego and you have no attachment to it and that makes you feel good, knock yourself out. I don't like taking the time to put together an outfit. I'm very simple. If it was up to me, I'd wear black year round, but it's too hot in Austin to wear black year round. You know what I mean? But it's a personal choice and a personal preference, and it should always make you feel your best when you do it. But yes, I love what you said about changing perspective and growing. Like,
I've had those people though come up to me and be like, "Oh, you don't believe in that no more, Alex." And it's like, I'm allowed to change. I'm allowed to learn from mistakes. I'm allowed to grow, you know?
Yeah, well, if you
But then
consistently
at the same time, I've been that person as well. I've been that person,
yeah,
that judgy person.
haven't we all? And that's what people don't want to admit. Like, I told my homies, I was like, I was judging y'all too much. I was like, I was too worried about the shit y'all was doing instead of worrying about how y'all treated me. And that's how I operate now. I don't really care. I have nothing to do with your relationship with somebody else. Because they know what's going on and you know what's going on. That's between y'all. But how you treat me is that all that matters. And I literally told one of that last Sunday, I was like, yeah, it was bothering me. I didn't like the way, you know what I'm saying, you was treating your fiance. I ain't like that shit. And then I had to realize I have nothing to do with that. If she cool with it, just being completely real, if she cool with it, who am I? You know, that might be some kind of special relationship y'all got going on. All I know is, since I've known you, you've always looked out. From day one, when I was in school, I ain't have money. Yo, I got you. Let's go out. You one of the few friends that's actually been to my house. And for that, I was like, I love you for that, because he is one of the few people that, for the most part, he has been who he always has been. But like I said, it just boiled down to, like, you have to learn, like you said, when judging people, like, people are doing the best that they can at all times with the information that they're given. When you come to that understanding, you start to develop compassion because you are doing the best that you can do at all times. And you will want somebody to be nice to you. Like you was talking about, Alex, like, at certain ways you thought certain things. And there was people in our position now that were trying to explain to us. There was people trying to explain to me there's no such thing as good and evil. And I was just like, eh. Now I'm just like, I see exactly what they were talking about. It seemed so just, it didn't make sense. I was like, how could not be good and evil? But then I realized I was still stuck in moralism. I was still stuck in the Bible. And when I talk about morals, I'm not talking about, like, just walking around slapping people and just doing whatever. I'm talking about, like I said, what basically makes you feel good. I don't think walking around slapping random people makes too many people feel good. They're probably doing it because they're hurting, if anything. And that's another thing you realize. A lot of people are just doing things because they're hurting. A lot of people go to the bar every week because they're hurting. I was going because I was hurting. I was escaping. It was escapism. It was fun sometimes, but a lot of the times, I just was trying to escape. And what I realized was, you running. Stop running. Sit your ass in your room and do some shadow work. And at that time, I didn't know it was shadow work. I just knew I was sitting there getting revelations about myself, and I could feel myself feeling better. I could feel myself healing. I could feel myself forgiving myself for thinking a certain way, judging people, judging myself, not being nice to myself, seeing, okay, this triggers me. How do I overcome this? This person triggered me. Why? Oh, because they're me. They're alpha male too. They don't like listening to other people so much. They like to hear a little bit and they like to process it. They don't like to be preached to all the time. And like you said, a lot of times the things that trigger you are things you do to other people. And people do not like that. They do not like to admit that the thing that triggers them the most is the same thing they do to other people. And that's when you get into real shadow work. when you find out you're guilty of the things you accuse other people of. And I've definitely been there. Fundy, looked like he was about to say something.
Oh no, I just like what you're saying right now. An expression came to mind when you're saying just a few seconds ago. I was thinking, hurt people hurt people. You ever heard that one?
Real, yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that expression.
Sorry.
No, you good.
I just wanted to open up to the floor to see if anyone else wanted to add any comments or had any questions. Feel free to jump in if you have anything to say.
Do I need to start calling out names? Jake, I'm staring at you.
If hurt people hurt people, then if you don't want to hurt people, you're going to have to heal yourself. And you're not going to heal yourself if you don't give attention to some of the negative aspects of yourself that you'd rather not address. So yeah, you got to sit down and face it. Like you said, you got to stop running.
Yeah, and you are what you attract. If you hurt and you going out and trying to date, what type of people you think you're going to attract? Other hurt people. And I can tell you that from experience. The more I heal myself and truly become the best version of myself, my true self, you start realizing you attract, like I said, it's not always dating. You attract other people and friends that are in that same frequency. And then you attract, whatever partner you want in that frequency. And you'll start to see, oh man, like the difference in the type of people you attract. It's just really that simple. Like you said, hurt people keep hurting other people. What's the inverse of that? Happy, healing people attract other healing people. Yeah, and they heal. So which one do you want to be, the hurt one or the healer? So
exactly.
It keeps coming back to choice,
And it's all in your hands.
And you know what? That's the part of shadow that people don't want to accept. Everything is your fault. And that sounds extreme, but it's the truth. Everything is your fault. And when I say that, I think people automatically assume the negative things. Nah, the positive things also. Like I said, to me, it just is what it is. But the hard work you put in for something, and you get that job and you get that money, that was your fault. You know what I'm saying?
I 100% agree with you. I think it's like more about taking responsibility and ownership.
Yeah. And notice I said you got a job and made a lot of money. That's your fault. People only say fault when it's something quote unquote negative.
Yeah.
Fault is just a result. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah.
It's funny that you're talking about shadow work, and if I've been doing that for months, I didn't know it actually had a name for that.
Exactly.
Yeah, me either.
You see what I'm saying? Like you realize after we started talking, I've been doing. I'm telling you.
You talked about intuition as well. The same way I follow my intuition. You explain your intuition. It is exactly the same I do. When I feel like, for example, I'm on YouTube. Suddenly, okay, I need to go to the meditation. I'll go to the meditation. Suddenly, I want to hear metal. I'm going to hear metal. I do that every single day with pretty much everything. Yeah. I follow my own intuition. I follow to my own feelings and my thoughts. And I do what I want to do without, like you said, without like harming anyone. Yeah. Because I'm against doing that, obviously.
Your emotions and your feelings are your biggest compass through your life. Whatever brings you closest to happiness, joy, and contentedness, you're on the right path. At the moment you start feeling negative feelings, negative emotions, like there's something unresolved.
Hate, rage, jealousy, all of that.
Yes. All that comes out of you, like you said, not doing what you want to. I love what you said, like how you jump from one thing to another. It was funny, me and my roommate were talking about that. He was like, because I don't have a job right now. And he was like, huh?
Neither do I.
So he was, okay, so right. So it's allowing me to live the life I want to live.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like, he's like, man, I know you stay up late, But then I see you at like 8 in the morning. Then I won't see you again. And it's just like, yeah, because I'm just like, why would I do the regular 9 to 5, you know, go to bed at a certain time, have to wake up at a certain time when I don't have to. And I don't even like to live like that. I just live in flow. And it's been working out great. And yeah, a lot of, like I said, it goes back to programming. People tell you need this amount of sleep. You only need what you need. Tesla took naps every 2 hours for 20 minutes, I believe it was. That shit don't sound like it's gonna work for me. But if it worked for Tesla, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need more than 20 minutes. I could do an hour every 2 hours. That kind of makes sense, actually. But 20 minutes, what you doing in 20 minutes? You know what I mean? Like, what is that? I mean, unless you know how to go straight to sleep and he go astral travel and he got like, because certain people, I know a shaman, they do this. They can go into meditation and I wish Issa was in here because he talks about a tip what he did from the astral realm. They go there and they recharge, and it only takes them an hour or 20 minutes, and they get out of the hour or 20 minutes the same thing the rest of us get out of 8 hours or some nice high sleep. That's not most restful sleep, because when I smoke and I just pass out for like 10 hours. But I'm trying to get away from that and just do the natural thing, build up a place in the astral world that I can go recharge, come back and do what I need to do. My bad, that kind of went off topic, but that's part of the things you learn is living in your own circadian rhythm, developing your own routine. And you know what? It's funny, like when you become your true self, you start to introduce things to reality that other people knew existed. I read a book, I was reading a book on the Akashic Records, and the dude in the intro was like, before me, nobody had ever written a book on Akashic Records. I came here to do this first. Stop trying to be the second person to do some shit that's already been done. Be the first person to do it your way. And then people will call it the Jake method, the Harriet method, the Funny method, the Christos, the 8, the Skull, there'll be a method. You know what I'm saying? All those people did was step into their power, step into their self-truth, and then they brought to this reality what they were supposed to bring. Everybody's supposed to bring something here. It's just a matter of figuring out what you're supposed to bring.
Everyone has his own mission to do.
Video game. You are Hercules, you are Thor, you are all those goofy ass Marvel characters. You know what I'm saying? You all have your own special powers, and literally about being able to tap in and recognize those powers. Like I said in The Alchemist, he think that, oh shit. Ooh. I don't want to ruin The Alchemist if you haven't read it. But I almost did it. Spoiler alert. I gotta do it to get my point
Oh,
across.
you can just say it, because then it will entice people to read it anyway.
At the end of the day, he was thinking The Alchemist. And The Alchemist responded to his thanks with, I only invoked what you already knew. I remember one day I was telling my homie some shit, and he was like, man, you really ain't told me nothing new. I was like, that's the point. You know everything. It's just a matter of things invoking it and bringing it out of you. When you get mad at a flat tire, that's a challenge. That's meant to bring something out of you. How are you going to respond? Are you always responding the way you always do? I literally had that test last week, because if I had got a flat tire 2 years ago, that would have sent my whole day into a spiral. I would have had to go in and take a nap. I simply was like, I got the money to get it fixed. There's no reason to get upset. It's drivable to the place. I got in my car and drove it. Got a brand new tire. I was back in 3 hours. You know what I mean? Or 2 hours. But that was a trigger I had to get past. And you keep being tested with the same test until you pass them. That's all life is. When you notice you keep having to do the same test, it's because you keep failing. It's that simple. Once you pass that test, you'll receive a new one that you've never seen before. And that's how you level up. Like I said, it keeps going back to simulation theory. You can't get past that stage until you pass that stage. It's that simple. You know, so it is natural, so it is spiritual. You can learn everything from video games and movies. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to keep repeating shit until you pass it. And like I said, I don't know why anybody would want to step into their own power and bring to this universe what they're supposed to bring. Everybody in here has something that they're, in my opinion, they're supposed to introduce. And you don't need to be a celebrity to do it. I guess another thing, people think you have to have a large following. You just need to reach one. Like for me, it's just one. If one person come away with this, with a better understanding of who they are, what they're supposed to do, a little less depression, a little less anxiety, then I feel like I did what I was supposed to do, because that's what I went through. I shared my story, they found something that they could relate to, and they added it to them, and it produced the outcome of peace, of calmness. You know what I'm saying? Serenity, harmony, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, my bad. I see a couple of y'all, Fundy or whoever. Jake, you got anything? You ain't said nothing since the first. I like what you said at the beginning.
Yeah, I think a massive part of a realization that I've recently had around shadow work is, I mean, I'm a very analytical person. I think that's a very masculine trait. But I think there are some aspects that I'm coming now to realize part of my mission that are not, they're actually like more karmic implants. Like they're 40 parts of my being that I actually incarnated here with to learn from. So like what you said earlier, when the spiritual and the physical are inevitably connected at every single point, there's not even one single thing by chance, even if it's like off the whim, it happened for that reason, and your contemplation of that is your consciousness here at the table, taken away from that why it was necessarily displayed to you. But I forgot what I was saying. Yes, I feel like there's a massive part of, well, a huge part of who I am around my sexuality, and for such a long time I was battling with that, and I feel this is particularly relevant at this point in time just because obviously chemical warfare against us is so prevalent.
Yes.
Like the water and just every single thing available for you to consume, really. But I've realized now that my particular inclination into the place I was born, where the water was super stodgy, that had my hormones all kind of fucked up for such a long time, but my soul and the vision that I was put here to have and understand has led me to a particular calling. I just feel like there's so much around higher self, which I think is so beautiful, because I like the fact that people are coming away from being dominated by these exterior forces, such as what the planets have to offer. And I'm not saying I'm bigger than that, but I do feel like they're clues and not things that dominate every part of your reality, every factor of your reality. But I feel like, coming back to what I was saying about my sexuality, my struggle with that has now called me to be very open to using other physical means to counteract things that have happened in my body and that have been happening in my body for such a long period of time. Because I know people are so hard on themselves because I don't know, they go to the clubs and the bars and they escape. But at the same time, although that's not healthy, I think people know that like everything that you consume has a spirit. And I think sometimes people are called to spirits not even knowing that it's the wrong thing that they're guided to. Like they go to the bar and they'll work with these things that dumb them and take them to this other state of consciousness. But I think that it's really important now to be open to understanding that there are means available around us, and that a lot of the time our shadow has integrated itself into our lives in this way. Am I making sense, by the way? Because I do ramble a little bit as well.
Yes.
You
feeling
on
Yeah.
fire.
So I know that I have been recently called to work with plant medicine, and there was a kind of it was like, Jake, why can't you stand on your own 2 feet and just call in the power of your higher self to help you see through the veil? But I'm like, you have been poisoned for 28 years. It's okay to have these exterior forces that have presented themselves to you through the shadow work that I had denied myself for such a long time. So I think it's just really important right now to not analyze the things that have, I feel like there is things that are cultural programming, and there are facets of our beings that are maybe not always ideal, but at the same time are weapons that we were given. So it's self-mastery in the sense of understanding that trait in your personality isn't necessarily a terrible thing, but understanding yourself enough to understand why that is crucial and your sword for a lot of it, instead of trying to be this changed person and being like, no, I can't be like that all the time. But no, like sometimes that is just you, and you have that, and that is your superpower. That part of your shadow, it's not to be banished by any means, it's to be mastered. And I know that's what we're doing, and it's easier said than done, but I just feel like I've spent a lot of time trying to nitpick to the point where I'm like, wait, who even am I now? Because I'm trying to be this just utter light being. No, you're a human being, and that's fantastic. Really.
I think it's a work in progress.
Yeah, for sure.
Relate exactly to what you're saying.
Yeah. And I just
Thanks
think
for
we're
sharing
just
that, Jake.
no worries, no Matt, no worries at all. I just think it's such a crucial time just to be completely open, because I think sometimes the people are like, this is bad about me, but do you actually want to change that? Because that's actually served you up to this point in some narratives.
Right.
So, and again, it comes back to the B word, doesn't it? Balance, which is a beautiful thing, all the B's, but yeah.
The first
You know
thing,
what I took from what you just shared is that making mistakes isn't a waste of time as long as you learn some sort of lesson from it. The only way to waste your time would to be making the same mistakes with the opportunity to learn your lesson, but choosing not to learn. And because you don't need to. It's okay to make mistakes, but it's kind of not okay to willingly not learn from your mistakes, leading you to repeat the same ones over and over again.
Yeah, the tricky thing is that they seldom look the same though, do they? It's like the same simulation, but in a completely different level. So you're like, oh, that's the beauty of deja vu, isn't it? I always, whenever I get the deja vu, it's like, okay, right, I've got a fault coming up, but it never looks the same. I'm like, oh shit, it was that one. Back we go, or not back we go, sideways, or forward, but different.
Yeah, y'all said so much good shit. I can't go back to it all, especially with.
I don't remember what I said. There were a couple of things in there, but I didn't commit to any of them. See, I gave them all.
That's intuition, though. You in such a
for
flow state, you don't even know what's coming out of your mouth. Like you said, I can't even remember what I was saying, and my homie used to call it vibrating.
Yeah.
Where you just get in a moment to where you truly expressing yourself, and you're not planning what's coming out next. You just letting it flow. And the first thing you said was, I had that same problem. I was thinking too much with my brain. Like I said, the analytical thinking. Like they said, the Egyptians threw out the brain because they knew that shit was useless. All you needed was your heart, and your heart is where your intuition lies. Like it's like you can literally put your hand on your stomach when you're trying to make a decision, and it, like they say, go with your gut. Feel your gut. Like I do it every now and again. I'm just, like I said, I'm more so trying to master the mind and not
your
the
first
mind.
brain, isn't it? Your gut, first brain.
Yeah, and you know, I'm like some be completely honest. I love the fact that you brought up sexuality, because being a black dude from Alabaster, Alabama, and growing up in a super religious upbringing, that gay shit was not tolerated for real. And it took me years to truly understand what it was, or I don't even say what it was or how it works, but you understand, like, being comfortable.
Yeah, for sure.
I was never one of those people that was just like hated gay people. I don't hate nobody. I never understood picking on anybody. I never understood being like, you can't have this because you're this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so from that point, no. But did I always try to understand? Was I confused about like what it is and like what could cause someone to I don't even want to make it seem like it's a problem, but
No, you could. I heard it all, mate. You can just say what you feel. It's all good.
Well, you know, yeah, I'm not trying to make it seem like I was just but
we all
feel
away at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, I stepped outside of my comfort zone. Started hanging around gay people, giving them a chance, trying to understand, and through that, I understood. I was like, it's multiple ways they come to that realization. Some of them have been touched when they were younger, raped, whatever. And some of them were just like, that's always who I've been. Like, I literally just, that's my gang homie. Because you know how I am. I'm just come to you and try to understand you. And I was like, yo, I've heard it's this way. I've heard it's that way. He was like, well, that's funny. Because for me, I've just always been who I am. And I was like, cool. You know what I'm saying? But the dude he was dating, because I knew my homie. I didn't know the dude he was dating. But the dude he was dating had been touched or whatever. But he was cool with it. He didn't care. He was like, I mean, it might have caused me to be this, but this is who I am, and I like it. And I was like, that's real. You know what I'm saying? And some people would try to argue that it can't be both ways. That's also the problem. It don't have to be A or B. It could be C, neither, or D, both. You got more than two choices. Once you figure that out, you open up a whole realm of possibilities within itself. But it comes from stepping out. So like I said, I had to be real with myself and be like, all right, man, you don't know how that thing works. So first of all, stop talking about it to other people until you actually go talk to somebody that's been through it and experienced the confusion, trying to figure out, am I really like this? Have I been programmed to think like this? You know what I'm saying? Or is this truly who I've always been? You know what I'm saying? And
I think right now that is such a crucial part of exploration when it comes to shadow work, because there is so much of us that has been created by exterior means that we don't even have to be dealing with. We need to, like, a lot of the time, your problem is going to be physical, what you're doing exteriorly, and this means of what is created within you that is something that isn't serving your higher self in any way, shape, or form is going to change when you address that exterior.
Exactly. Like, yeah, the sooner you address it, first of all, the sooner it's gonna bring you some peace. The longer you push it off, the more miserable you're gonna be, because you keep thinking about why you don't understand it. Just go, just go try it. Just go ask somebody. And because, like you said, if I don't know nothing about it, like I just like women, you know what I mean? But whoever likes what they like I said, who you fuck don't make me come at the end of the day. And I'm all about how you treat me.
Yeah.
And because it's straight people that I can't, like, they don't treat me so well. You know what I'm saying? Like, black, white, it don't matter. It's a person by person thing. And that's how you treat people, person by person. And that's the problem with, like, prime example, me and my homie were talking. And he said some shit, but he didn't realize what he said. He was like, man, we was young, we just knew who was gay. And I was like, you right. But we didn't even call them gay. We were just like, they're a little different. And that didn't even stop us from playing with them. It didn't make us look at them any different. It was just like, oh, Brandon a little different. You know what I mean? And once you got older, that you started associating that shit with sex, that you thought it was weird, and then you thought they were weird and you couldn't be around them. It was like, what? You've known them for however long, not just because they have a different sexual preference than what you have.
I think that ties into conditioning.
For sure.
Conditioning program
for what we see externally as well.
Because you can step into race with it. You can step into religion with it. Catholics don't fuck with Mormons. Mormons don't fuck with Christians, whatever. It's the same. That's the thing. You realize it's the same shit. It's just a method of divide and conquer.
And that hits from young, that religious stuff as well. That hits from young. Man, they always say man and woman, isn't it? Like man and woman come together, and like, the religious stuff always hits from young.
Yeah. And then in the Bible, they consistently dog darkness. So anything you see dark, innately, they didn't say black people, but they kept darkness this, darkness that. So whatever is dark, you're gonna naturally fear it. It really starts with the Bible. Then it goes to what you see on the news about certain people or certain things. And sex, like you said, sexuality has to be man and woman. And they tell you that people that I've talked to that are master astral travel and go to different realms, they would tell you that people that sit outside the gates of a lot of these powerful realms are gay, or and they don't call them gay, they call them the gatekeepers, because they have a balance, you know what I'm saying, in their energy, a balance of that masculine and feminine, that androgynous being. But yeah, it's just a lot of being real with yourself and being like, all right, I struggle with this. Why do I struggle with this? Because I don't understand this. People only truly feel what they don't understand. Once you understand shit, you have no fear. Once you understand that the government has no real power, you can't fear the government.
People fear what they don't understand. People fear what they don't understand.
I was watching a movie and they were like, they were talking about the boogeyman. They were like, the boogeyman is real. And it don't mean you have to fear him, because he can't do shit to you. I seen him when I was younger. Seen the shadows. One thing I noticed, they could never do nothing to me. I could feel them, like when I would get scared, I would turn over, pull the cover over my head. I could feel them hovering, but they never touched me. You've heard of all type of people having ghost encounters. How many people have gotten killed by ghosts? I know a dude that was like, I got lifted up to the corner by a ghost. And I was just like, but did he leave a mark on you? Nah.
But did you die?
Yeah, they just very theatrical. They just moved. Like, you seen Beetlejuice? They had to learn how to scalp people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they talk about when you go in the fourth and fifth dimension, like, you see beings. And a lot of them things ain't seen humans. So they look at you just as, like, they talk about animals. They're just afraid of you as you are of them.
Yeah.
I think there's power also in not identifying with your avatar. And I think when you see it from a higher position of this is just my avatar. I'm not my body. I think you empower yourself so much by doing that because you are not identifying with color, race,
Yes.
like your gender, your sexuality. Like you're not. It's not something to identify with. And then when you see it from that point of view, and you're just like, it's just an avatar. You
Yes.
take the power out of there is no racism. Well, we know that, for example, like racism and the whole gender separation thing, that just comes from the 3D world. It's
Mhm.
an illusion. It's fake. The separation is illusion.
You're right. And it's funny because I would hear people say there is no racism, black people, and I'm like, but now I realize,
Does it trigger you when I say that?
yeah, well, huh?
Does it trigger you when I say that?
No, because I got to a point to realize it isn't. Like, it's only racism if I allow it to affect me,
Yeah.
just like anything else. Like, somebody could call me a name. All they did was call me a name. Now it's up to me how I respond to it.
Yeah.
Somebody could just call me a dumbass. Am I? Only if I believe it. Then after that, it's how I respond to what they call me a dumbass. I'm not gonna give you a response because I understand vampirism. I understand that people will say things just to take your energy, and they're good at it. They'll take it and use it for their good. So you can never get me with that anyway. But yeah, like I said, or if it do exist, it only exists if I let it bother me or I let it affect me. Because at the end of the day, it's only things that people are saying. I've never seen anybody want to put their hands on me. So, that now when we get to that point, there's something different. That ain't racism. You just assaulted me. Now we got to handle business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything else is just words. And that's another thing. Like you said, when you realize you're just an expression, I chose to be this expression I am now, but this is just the avatar state. You start to disconnect ego, or not disconnect it, but build up an ego in the way that you understand who you truly are. So you never really get rid of it. You just have a better understanding. And you disconnect the things that don't need to be attached to it. Hey, you ain't said nothing. My bad. Did you have anything?
Fundy?
I was talking about ape. I know ape ain't.
Oh, sorry, Fundy's. I'm just gonna mute Fundy.
Yeah, I heard fundy too.
Ape, do you have anything to add, or Jeremiah?
There might be a way. Harriet, I see you, so I know you here.
She's listening.
Nothing.
I'm just observing. I'm really enjoying this, but I haven't got much to say because it's all still very new to me. But I'm really enjoying this, and it's taught me a lot. So thank you.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, you can share whatever. Like, that's also a thing, is thinking that they talk about imposter syndrome, thinking you're not as knowledgeable as the other people around you, especially when it comes to something like this. You always are. You always. I realize that everybody has something to offer. Like I said, because you're just speaking your own truth. And I mean, how can you not learn from other people's truth? It's something that they went through that you didn't go through. So we always have something to share with people. I'm not making you say anything right now, but it's just something I learned. Like, because like I know Issa isn't here, but take for instance Issa. He talks to me like, he's just like, yo, what? I'm just like, man, you building astral temples. I'm trying to get where you at, and you'll find yourself being like, well, this person thinks this about you, and you're up here, and I'm just looking at you the same way, and you realize, they're both are at the end of the day, like, just excited about where the other one's at. In an environment like this, I feel like I'm excited where Alex is at, because Alex did something I couldn't do. She started a group, and we all here.
You could have done it, but you're part of it. You're a massive part of it. Like we all are,
Oh, I just come to fuck shit up. I'm the joke. I'm a dog chasing cars. I would never knew what to do if I actually caught one, But no, like, it's funny because that's my archetype though. I'm a goofy motherfucker. I don't like taking things seriously. The thing I like about me and my friends is when we get together, we gonna laugh. We're gonna figure out what we're gonna do second. But we know off top, we're gonna get some laughs off, And
I think, yeah, that's important. Like not taking life too seriously. During a plant medicine ceremony for me, like I was really shown that last time. that I take life too seriously. That's one of the things that I need to look at. And I was shown that in such a funny way that actually I started kind of giggling during the ceremony a little bit.
Oh, go ahead. And you want to expand on it? Because no, I like, we talked about it. Me and her had this talk about taking this, or whatever you want to call it, spirituality or awakening, taking this too seriously. Like you were talking about, Jake. I was spending all my time researching shit. I wasn't doing anything I wanted to do that was just earthly or mundane. And you need every teacher I've ever, I don't want to say teacher, every guide I've ever read a book or listened to a lecture on have said the same things. You need breaks from everything.
Yeah.
And that just comes into a balance. It don't have to be like a straight 2-month break. It might just be a week. It might just be I split my days in half. I do dumb shit. Or I call it dumb shit. When I say dumb shit, I'm just talking about like mundane everyday things. But you might just divide your week up into that. First half of the week, I'm doing all the bullshit. Second half of the week, I'm doing my spiritual things. It's just whatever works for you. Like Skull was talking about. He'll listen to some music, he'll do something else, and then he'll do something else. And that's why I'm getting to it, just realizing consistently doing what makes me feel good and not worrying about what somebody else. I love Sad Guru. I don't agree with everything that motherfucker say. He don't smoke weed. I like to smoke weed from time to time, but I control it. But he was like, he would never do it. Good for you. Like, people don't want to go against popular people that give a good message sometimes. You can listen to them and agree with 90%. And there might be a 10% that you don't agree with. I don't know if he ever smoked weed. So how can you tell me about something you've never done?
Yeah.
That's your truth. I ain't never done coke, but I'm not gonna argue with somebody about what it's like to do coke. It seems to be like a good time, but they be acting up. But I have no interest in doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's a natural plant. It don't even come out of pharmacy. It's used for what it's used for. People abuse it, but if they have fun abusing it, I mean, you know.
I think it's important to realize also that, you know, we go through phases just as much as the moon goes through phases, just as much as the seasons go through their phases. I've been through those phases, you know, like when what you were saying, going through that deep research, I've been there when I was doing nothing but research, like, and I'm digging myself into darkness doing it, but that's where I needed to be. I've been through this whole stage of really attaching to ego and letting my ego run my life. Been there. That's a phase. I had to go through that learning curve. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's really important, like when you realize and when you go through these different stages, like for me, the past 9 years, I can look back because of the time, I guess, and I can really look back and see and understand more why I went through certain things, what I learned through those certain things, and realize that, you know, these were different phases and stages on my journey that I needed to go through. Like a bit like what you were saying, you know, that you learn through and what you need to go through and how it serves you.
I meant to come back to what Fundy has said. Even your mistakes, quote unquote, are part of the journey. Because like they said, this has all already been played out in the mind of the all. I'm gonna drop a video in here called The Divine Heartbeat. And this is what I'm talking about. I had this video on YouTube since 2012. And on rough days, I would put it on before I went to work or whatever. I was having a rough time because it always brought me comfort and peace. And I just now really started understanding that shit probably a year ago. Like, I couldn't understand when he said you get caught up in racism, fascism, all the isms. And he was like, that shit don't matter. And I was just like I said, I was just like, I don't know about that. And at the point where I was in my life, I didn't know about that. Now I do know about that. I know exactly what he was getting at in that video. And it's beautiful. Like, I knew at the time, like you said, at the time I felt it. I felt that it was real, but I didn't understand it all. I couldn't comprehend it all, but I knew I needed to keep coming back to it and always listen to it from time to time. And every time I did, I started understanding more and more and started applying more and more to my everyday life. To where a point now where I'm just like, that little 15-minute video is one of the best things I've ever heard because it's literally that simple. But like I said, as you grow, I've seen the Ninja Turtles 1,000 times. It wasn't until this year that I understood they literally showed you that through meditation, you can summon things through the ether. I don't know if y'all seen Ninja Turtles, but there's a part where Splinter was like, now you achieved the final step in becoming a ninja, the mastery of the mind. He was saying that the same forces that brought me here tonight dwell within you. He was just talking about the Easter and the Akasha because he appeared in a illuminated state. You know what I'm saying? Like a god. And if you realize things about Ninja Turtles, they all represent the four elements. Michelangelo is earth, Leonardo is air, Donatello is water, Raphael is fire. Raphael is very passionate. When I looked at Ninja Turtles when I was a kid, I was like, I'm Raphael. Because when he get mad, he just dip. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got time to be arguing with you, motherfucker. I'm just dip. Like, if I stay here, we might fight. And he go back, he do his thing, and he come back. But he was the real leader. Leo was it's funny because I feel like Leo is the, he's an air sign, you know what I'm saying? He's real laid back and he appears to be a leader, but the leader is the person that gets shit going. The leader is that fire, that spark. Raphael is that fire.
The leader is the person that gets shit done.
Right. The Aries, the Leo, Alex. Put this shit together and got shit popping. And we're here now, you know. I don't know if you relate to Ralph, but you know. But he's
I do a lot, actually.
Oh, you relate to Ralph too?
Yeah, he's an
A
Aries
lot.
as well. Scarlett's an Aries as well.
Oh, hell yeah. And a lot of independence.
Fire.
Yeah.
No one gives me, or I hate when people gives me orders because I don't do that to anyone. So when a person gives me orders, I'm like, excuse me, motherfucker?
No, resolution. No, and that's something you realize about yourself. Mark Cuban says shit. He was like, I realized I was bad at jobs because I'm suck at working for people. I needed to go work for myself. I
hate doing that. It pisses me off so much.
Yeah, after being fired 2 or 3 times, I was like, you know what? Maybe I ain't good for working for other people. Because I go in meetings and I'm like, you are dumb. Why didn't you? I mean, I could go, I'm not even gonna do that. But yeah, I was just like, I struggle with being under people that I know they don't know what they're doing. And a lot of times, I don't know how long y'all been working, but a lot of these people have no clue what they're doing.
True, that's true.
And and it's funny though. And then in being an Aries, like I said, that's knowing yourself and being your true self. I know I don't like taking orders. I know when I went to school, I sit in class and be like, man, that shit don't sound right. Where you get that from? Matter of fact, and that's when you know you're living in your true self. Like I said, when you can be like, where did that come from? If it came from anywhere outside of yourself, it ain't you. That ain't for you. That's programming. That's conditioning. You still living by other people's means and what they saying. And then once you get to that point of being like, who said that? Because I literally ask people that when they say things like, where did you get the information from? Well, I got it from XYZ. Where did they get it from? I don't know. So you don't know if it's true or not. When people explain things to me, like, what should I do? I don't know. I wasn't there when it happened. I can only take the information you gave me. You're going to give me only the good shit that you want me to be on your side about. So what I'm going to tell you to do is what you know to do. You might lie to yourself. You might listen to yourself. But at the end of the day, I know you know what you need to do. And I would never tell you to listen to my advice. Because that's just how I would handle it.
I think when it comes to truth,
how you handle it. Huh?
I think when it comes to truth, you need to like follow it all the way back to source as much as possible. And I think that goes for anything. Like if you're searching for truth within yourself, delve deep into, what is that source? Like, where does it come from? Go back to the root, go back to the seed, of where it's grown, because everything grows from something. So go back to the seed. And it's the same with any truth, whether it's like external truth, political truth, whatever you want to talk about. I just want to be kind of mindful of the time because there's a few of us here. It's getting like a little bit late. I just want to see, Fundy, you keep coming on. Is there something you want to add?
I just been having some technical difficulties connecting to some Bluetooth speakers, but finally got it worked out.
Cool. So Chris, I don't know if you have anything to say to close. Only because I know what you're like and you could probably go on for another 5 hours, which is fine. But not all of us have that time.
Well, does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, there was something I wanted to bring up and ask your feelings on. So one thing you reminded me of earlier, it's a lesson that I keep on learning over and over again, that I need to spend more time, looking into and practicing it, is the realization that there's many different states of consciousness. And I keep on noticing more and more different states of consciousness that I enter in a reoccurring way. And I don't ever mean to access them. It just kind of happens. One of the most interesting, oh yeah, it was when you were talking about Nikola Tesla sleeping for 20 minutes every 2 hours or so.
Yeah.
That was what reminded me that I'll often have a full night's rest, but wake up a little earlier than I need to. And so then I'll be able to go back to sleep for another hour or 2 hours or so. And I'll notice that often when I get my whole sleep cycle done and then I go back into sleep, I have this ability to visualize and think things through with almost like a 100% access to my visualization abilities. And I noticed that I'll come up with maybe some designs for an art piece, or maybe solve some questions that I've had that required a lot of deep thinking about. And this is something that I don't even plan on what I'm about to like look into when I enter this mode. It's just something that kind of happens on its own. And then of course, each different drug is going to put you into a different state of consciousness. But a lot of people probably think that all there is like there's being awake and there's being asleep, and those are the two options. But what I'm learning is that there's actually many different ways of being asleep, and there's many different ways of being awake. And in a world where maybe we were a bit more connected with our natural, and taught a bit more about who we really are and what we're capable of, I might know a little bit more about these different states of consciousness and maybe be able to put them to work for me. But I'd love to know if you have any techniques of entering on like willingly and on purpose different states of consciousness, and what you find like what they help you out for specifically, like if you're dealing with like a problem that you just can't figure out how to approach, maybe you do this, or you take a nap, or I don't know, anything like that really.
First of all of that. I'm still figuring out ways to really tap in consistently in the depth that you're talking about. It's interesting that you said you do it the way you do it, because they say that once you wake up, that is the best time to meditate, because you're in the in between. You're not really awake, but you're not really asleep, and that is
Right.
the best way to channel and get downloads. So that's what I'm talking about. I don't know if you already knew that, but you already knew that. You were already doing it. So
Right.
my advice is to keep doing what you're doing, because you own something. Not all
Yeah,
I just did was give you confirmation of what you already knew was already doing.
right. And you know how they'll say like people get paranoid on marijuana?
Oh yeah.
I think, Joe Rogan has said this a bunch of times, but the paranoia is one of his most favorite parts about the experience when you get a little too baked, because you end up kind of looking into yourself, and you're like bothered by some of your thoughts, and it's inescapable, because it's kind of like a force feeding that you do to yourself in this way of like thinking about things you normally wouldn't care so much to think about. So I think there's all these different states of consciousness when you're awake and when you're asleep that a lot of us may notice, but maybe not know anyone around us that can really explain them to us. But I'd love to figure out how to access these things in a consistent, like on purpose sort of way, and figure out what they're best used for, like dealing with. Maybe there's a would you say that there's categories of shadow work?
Yeah, well, it just levels to everything, but you're already doing it. And I heard somebody say earlier, the way that you show appreciation to your higher self, universe, whoever giving you the information, is by writing it down and keep practicing it. It seems like you're already practicing it, and like anything, the more you practice, the better you get at it. And I would just tell you to keep doing what you're doing because I'm finna try what you're talking about. Like doing more meditation. Because it's funny, I have been doing that the past 2 weeks myself. When I wake up, immediately sit up and try to go into meditation. And I can tell you this absolutely works. The more downloads I would get during the day, because I just get in the trance mode during the day, I would start putting those things in my phone. Same thing with dreams, write them down. Because it's just like, all right, if you in class or you at a seminar or something, the best way to show appreciation to somebody is to write their shit down that they saying. Because then to them, it makes them feel like, oh, okay, they really care about what I'm talking about. The universe works the same way. You're showing them a ounce of gratitude or appreciation for the higher self, whatever, by writing it down and keep practicing it. Because then you're showing them a lot of things. You appreciate it and you know it's working. So yeah,
I agree.
You feel me? Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing every time. The alchemist, you already know what you're doing. Stick with it. But I get what you're saying. That is my thing. I'm trying to become more consistent when I can tap in to those higher realms and receive those downloads. But like you said, only you truly know what works for you. Some people meditate laying down. Some people meditate sitting up. Some people meditate with their eyes open. I'm way better at getting into meditation or trance mode with my eyes open. When I just stare at the wall or stare just like I was telling, I think I was telling Alex this. I have a big problem just being a Pisces. We always in the in between in the dream world. I would literally be talking to people and check out. And people would be like, "You're an asshole." I'm like, "What are y'all talking about?" And they was like, "So and so was speaking to you, and you didn't even acknowledge them." I was like, "Motherfucker, why you ain't say nothing?" Like, I'm not an ass like that. You know what I'm saying? I say what's real, but I don't ignore people. But there was something I had to realize, like, man, I really be spacing out. And then I started catching myself. It was brought to my attention, and I started catching myself. But it's two sides to everything. The quote unquote bad part of that is it's gonna happen when you're talking to me. But the good part is I can do that. Certain people can't even do that, But so I learned two things about myself. I can get in the trance mode like a motherfucker. I can literally be staring you in your eyes and not hear nothing you say. I be thinking about what is this realm like? Well, it ain't nothing but Skittles and fried chicken that don't upset my stomach, you know what I mean? Or what's this world like with all the finest weed I can find? Like, it could be anything. Or it could just be trying to figure out some shadow shit in the middle of the day. Like, that's happened too. There's no telling what my mind can be. But people even struggle with that, because that's meditation. That's also the thing. Like, it's just so many different forms of meditation. They only tell you about the one that's sitting still and not listening to shit. I can be, like I said, in the middle of a bar. The last time I did it, I was in the middle of a bar, and my homie was speaking to me. And my roommate, we had already talked about I do this. He started laughing when I did it, and I realized that I did, and I was just like, man, I'm sorry. And because he, like, the guy pushed me, was like, I'm talking to you, and I was just like, I'm sorry, and I spaced out. I'm sorry. I can't remember what I was thinking about at that time, but I caught myself doing it, and it just happens. But like I said, I'm cool with it because, like, I just need to learn, like you said, find how to channel that shit on demand. You know what I'm saying? Learn how to control it a little bit more.
On demand. That's right.
Yeah.
Funny,
Yeah.
I was gonna say I had a similar. Sorry, I don't want to. Was we about to wrap up? Then we was, weren't we?
No, honestly, you're fine. Go on, Jake. Go on. No, honestly. Go on.
No, I was gonna say I had a similar thought just the other week because my manifestations were happening quick time when I was in that theta state just after waking up, and then I was doing some research on it, and I think you're pretty much entirely induced in that state up to around about the age of 7 or 9. I forget the exact number, and I've started trying to replicate that state by going to places that take me back to when I was that age, or doing exercises when I was that age, and I'm finding that I can write a lot easier once. Like, I just went swimming the other day, and I used to swim, but I don't swim anymore, and it takes me back to that childhood sort of vibration, which then I think must neurologically attach me to that state. And after it was just coming out, because I can speak stuff, but then if I've got like a writing block, which I've created myself, it's just, there's no budging it, but it really helped out. So I don't know if that's worth giving it a try. I haven't tried manifesting after that exercise, but it's definitely helped with my creative flow. And I know you said you have a lot of sort of epiphanies and creative thoughts coming to you straight after you wake up. So it might be worth giving that a try.
Oh yeah, because go ahead, Fundy.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Yeah, I just thought I'd share because you said it, and I've had something similar recently.
You in between realms. Like I said, half wake, half sleep. And the time when the earth is in between realms is when the sun is going up and the sun is coming down. I like what Christos called me. I hate his mic ain't working. He called me the pharaoh of the in-between. Those are literally my favorite parts of the day, when that sun is going down and when it's coming up. And after that, I'm just like, y'all got it. But I'm most active between those times, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because,
What I want to learn how to tap into on demand most is the daydream state, because like you said about staring at a wall or being at a bar or something, I can be I can play some sort of video, listening to the audio with the earbuds in, playing at full volume, and I got sounds and people talking literally blasting straight into my ears. But as soon as some thought pops into my head that is powerful enough, I can completely substitute listening to whatever is directly playing into my ears and listen to my own voice and completely tune out what's actually being heard by my ears. And the same thing goes with watching a video. If a powerful enough visualization pops into my head while I'm watching something, I can replace my attention. It's never, it's not on purpose, but I can replace my outward visual attention with a inward visual attention and just completely substitute what my eyes are seeing for what my mind is seeing. And that's not something I can do on purpose, but when it does happen, I notice that it's like one of the strongest moments of like visualization I can have.
That's so wild. That's a synchronicity like a motherfucker. Before this morning, I just happened to hop on YouTube and like I said, I'm taking what I said earlier. I wish I hadn't said it on here, but I'm doing that Saturday, doing the ceremony. And somebody else had said that, like, oh, Jake, when you said the plant, you feel called to work with plants. I'm kind of feeling that same calling. It's weird, and those type of plants, not just everyday plants. But that's what I've been doing, But the point is, it's funny what you said, Funny. They were like, that's what those plants help you do. They help you not focus on what's in front of you, because analytically, that's what your brain tells you to do. Focus on what's at hand. But everybody knows in here, the magic happens in the peripheral of your eye. And because we've been trained to only focus on one thing at a time, you can't see the whole. Like they were saying, like, you just go outside and see a car. You don't see that it's a big ass piece of metal with a bomb in it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you drive every day. You know what I'm saying? When you broke it down like that, yeah, like you got a bomb down there. It's called a stove. You know what I mean? But they heat up food. You go outside and I like what Harry was saying, becoming the observer. They talk about that's how you truly learn shit. Also, the tree is the ultimate observer. The tree don't say shit all day. It's living. It don't make no damn noises. It let people come chill on its branches, and it's just observing. And
nice one.
Yeah, when you get into meditation, like I can't wait to Saturday. I'm going outside. It's funny. I'm coming out with more things. And this is what's funny. I like talking about Alex. I'm an Aries, so I'm super impatient. That's something I had to learn and work on. Cause like I bought these things Sunday, and for me to wait a week to try something, rare. Like when I get my Doge, I'll come home. That's the first thing I'm doing. With this, because I'm doing it with a real, and I smoke with a real purpose. I smoke to. Weed is the gateway drug. It introduces you to other realms and gateways. That's what they mean by calling it the gateway drug. Because when you smoke, you step into a realm and a zone that most other people can't get in. You know what I mean? You become so calm and you can listen to your own thoughts and nothing outside of what's going on in your head matters. That's what it is. And that's why, like you said, some people get so nervous on weed, don't know how to let go. They can't handle mushroom because they don't know how to let go. I can let go. I'm just trying to let go. I like chilling, you know what I mean? But it's funny because, yeah, like I said, Saturday, I'm going to give me a blanket. It's going to be, I think the low going to be 60. I'm going to do what I do, meditate, and I'm going to lay out in the backyard because the moon shoots right in our backyard. and I was gonna take it around sunset, see if I can see the shadows coming out. I got a big plans this weekend, but that's what I want to do. And I asked my homie, he was like, "Oh, I thought you were just taking them and we was gonna go out." I was like, "Hell no!" I was like, "Oh, you know me, like, you know, he know better." But I was just like, "If that's what you want to do, go ahead." But man, I was like, I'm trying to, like Fundy said, I'm trying to tap in. I'm trying to see some things. I'm trying to see some things I used to see. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to have an experience. I don't expect to be the same after Saturday. I truly expect to experience a certain type of death, as they say. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Speaking of tapping into things on demand, can anyone here maybe back up with some like personal experience the effectiveness of binaural beats?
Actually, yes. Damn, on my phone there. Man, I was doing it the other day with these lights. So okay, so this is the thing. Like we were talking about, everything is a frequency. Binaural beats is a frequency. Frequencies take you different realms. When you can get into their frequency by listening to binaural beats, you'll start getting downloads from that realm. Does that make sense? You tap into that realm of that channel, the energy of love frequency. The more you do it, like we said, practice make perfect, you will start to feel more love and put out more love. If you like, I was talking to a guy. You know what? I'm glad you asked that. I'm gonna see if he'll come on here because he was explaining to me how to use binaural beats. He was like, "Man, I did it so much over the years that shit started to open up in my mind." He was like, "I was literally channeling information from black holes." He was like, "I got into the frequency of a black hole." You know what I'm saying? I never heard of it. I heard of frequencies of planets, chakras, yada yada yada. Black hole was a whole nother level. And he was like, "Yeah," he's like, "It's dangerous though. I'm not dangerous with, you know, too much is given, much is required. There comes great responsibility." He was like, "Some of these binaural beats," and I hate Funny fell off, but some of these binaural beats will literally open up portals where you can see the unseen. You can receive the sight. You can receive the ethereal hearing. You know what I'm saying? You could feel things other people can't feel. You can start to see people auras just from listening to binaural beats because it's a frequency that you're tapping into, and that you know, that buzzing or whatever it vibrates at is directly because the frequencies, the universes are just located within your mind. People that have done things the right way, whether it be for meditation or helpful tools on the side, they tell you that you either go within yourself or outside of yourself. But within inside of yourself, it's 9 chambers in the brain. It's 9 realms. You think that's a coincidence? It's 7 days a week, 7 chakras. You think that's coincidence? You know, 7 is the God number, 7 archetypes. These things you repeat, and they all reside within inside of you. So everything you need always comes back to being inside of you. And that's where your truth lies, inside of you.
And I think that's a good place to close. I think there's a lot of you that actually want to carry on the conversation. So you know that we have the Discord server where you guys can voice chat, video chat, a lot of group of you. So you're more than welcome to jump on there if you want to jump on afterwards and carry on the conversation. I really, really, really appreciate everyone's time for staying on and everyone's input. I hope you got some good stuff out of it. Thank you, Chris, for leading this session this week. It was an amazing topic.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Well, I appreciate it.
Thank
everybody.
you.
Oh no, yeah, good. Like I said, I'm not no guru. I really enjoy y'all input. Like I learned a lot from Jake. I learned from the couple of things Harriet said. I wish Christos mic wasn't unmuted because I know he got shit there. He talking about he 21, but he get a lot of shit. And appreciate Funny, Skull. Appreciate all of y'all. Alex, of course. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thanks, guys.
Until next week. Bye. Bye.
See you.